All right, the pre-show meeting is complete, in which we were talking about serial killers, getting stickers, running naked in the woods, the World Series, and the Aggies. So the prep is done for the Bite Me podcast. We are ready to go. That's how we prep for the show. And glad you guys joined us. And that is a fact, by the way. Dean said with the cold front coming, where we're going to start today, he might run naked through the woods. So
and
hopefully,
it's the South Texas brush is not like the woods.
They got cactus.
No.
they got cactus and mesquite and thorns and all that.
Oh, yeah. But
the flowers have thorns down there.
And of course, Adam
it
Weller,
is going to be it's going to be glorious for many aspects when this little weather changes.
Well, we're going to get right to that.
Yeah, we're jumping on that one today.
We're jumping on that right out of the chute. But of course, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. By the way, got some merch that's going to be getting to my house before 9 p.m. according to UPS. Brand new hooded dry fit with the big logo on the back. And brand new caps as well. I will post that, if not today, for sure by tomorrow. So little heads up there. We're going to have some merch for everybody to represent the Bite Me podcast when they're out in this beautiful weather that's about to get here. But subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast. Podbean, highly recommend. That's the place where you can get every podcast we've ever done. And, of course, the Facebook group page where we get messages. I got a couple of messages already. Might have to bump them. Today, I should say. I might have to bump them the next week because we got a full show. So let's get right to it. And yes, Adam Weller here on the live YouTube stream said the show hadn't even started yet, and I'm already getting lit up. But he is. He is. Hey, you got to be patient. I don't like to talk a lot of trash. These guys can attest. Everybody I work with can attest. I just like to watch the games and enjoy it and enjoy a good win. But it was actually Caleb McCumber's idea to light you up. So I'm not going to talk any trash. It was just a great win. Let's get to it, man. I promise I won't go to any other screens today. So if you raise your finger like Scott did a couple of times and I've ignored him because I've been looking at another screen, I won't do that today. But let's jump in. The weather is happening. And it wasn't but maybe 2 or 3 shows. Caleb, I'm going to start with you because you started this thread on our text thread. It wasn't but 2 or 3 shows ago, and I believe it was you saying this as well. Hey, man, not all cold fronts are a dump. You know, you got to be able to be smart about it, know where to go. I want to do one of those deep dives that we like to do and our listeners seem to like about this one and why you seem to be perking up a little bit about it.
Man, I mean, this one looks right. For this area of the coast, a northwest, it takes a strong northwest. You want 25, 30 miles an hour sustained. Well, I mean sustained, but you want that wind. It doesn't have to sustained is a tough word. And I don't know the right words for being a weatherman, but you want a good strong gusty wind for 12, 13, 15, 18 hours, and northwest is a great direction. Mm-hmm. But the other thing we were talking about is this happens every year because I make posts on Facebook and I'm excited about it. Much like Perry making all these posts about the Aggies are going to win it all. Perry, I wish you'd quit. I wish you'd just dial back about 25%, brother, because we're all waiting for Aggie stuff to happen. But I do the same thing. I post about here it comes. This is going to be a good dump, and wind finder and all that shows a big northwest wind, and then it hits, and we're running around the house and clapping, looking like the kid from Home Alone. And 10 hours into it, you're looking at the actuals on the NOAA website, kind of depressed because even though it was predicted northwest, it came in north a little bit of east at it. And all it's going to do is tease you a little bit. But if this one can stay out of the northwest, it could kick off our fall. We're a little bit late. And that's the one thing about it is historically, I really feel like it's like that second week of October where that big northwest one gets predicted. And then it comes in that northeast. We're almost in November, so and that's usually when that good northwestern comes in. So I'm very hopeful because this could kick off our month and make for a really fun November and December.
All right, before we move on, how does it kick off the month? Like, what can our listeners expect? And because I'm going to get into I'm digging in on this because we talk about the dump all the time, but I don't think we've ever dug in on like the wins, the wheres, the hows, and what to do, and not all days are equal, et cetera. But just in terms of what fish are doing, Caleb, from your experience?
Well, right now, everybody's been talking about the past 30 40 days how high the tide is. Scott's talking about the redfish are back in the grass. I've got my little birds out on the coast telling me there's a ton of shrimp way in the back of the marsh up in the grass, and so forth and so on. That big dump comes and takes, a foot or more water away, then those redfish back in the grass, they come out. But more importantly, all that bait starts getting sucked out, and then the fish that are, in the vicinity, I don't know how far they travel, but just about everything in the vicinity is going to come up and take advantage of that big fall gorge, because they're trying to pack on calories and weight to make it through the winter, right? So I think it's their instinct to come up there and just gorge. Unfortunately, most of these dumps happen at night. We aren't going to go fish the dump, but Pat and I are going out Thursday and Friday to see what the results were of this bad boy.
And then Scott, I know you mentioned this as well, and so it's perfect a way to bring you in. Tide falling too. So you've got the double whammy, the double stars, however you want to put it. Your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, if this forecast holds, that northwest, and they're talking up to 40-something mile-an-hour gusts out of the northwest. So that'll push a ton of water out. Places that normally are holding, right now, probably holding 2 and 3 feet of water might be going dry on the mid to upper coast. I know a lot of those marshes in Galveston, you can't get around in them. I'd say this thing's supposed to start around midnight. I'd say by noon, there's a lot of places you won't be able to go. I mean, this is gonna be a major dump if it'll hold that west in it.
What's the timeline, real quick? Give me the timeline.
I mean, it shows it starting up about 10 p.m. down here. I haven't looked at Galveston. Straight north at the beginning of it, and then swinging around with a little northwest about daylight. So the straight north will start the push, and then the tide starts falling out here about 4:30 is high tide. So after that, it'll be going out. So you've got the falling tide mixed with the northwest, and that creates a hell of a dump. I mean, every fish around is going to line up on the conveyor belt and just wait for food to come to them. Yeah. And the thing is, there's a whole lot of fish in the backwaters right now. There's a whole lot of reds back there. So they're going to feel that pull. They're going to bail out and go to the bayous. So they'll be in the upper ends of the bayous, has been my experience when this happens. If it's second or third dump, then they typically are coming in from the big water in the lakes and moving into the bayous with that tide dumping. But these fish are all way back in there. All the fish I found this week were what would normally be 6 to 8 inches of water, and they're back there and it's 2 feet deep.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of schools back there. I probably had, 12, 15 schools in one day. And I sent you a bunch of pictures that day.
Yeah.
While you were working.
Yeah. I really appreciated that.
Yeah. I thought you would. I mean, I thought you just want to know what we're up to.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
That's all I'm doing.
That was the only reason.
Keeping you informed. That's all I do.
Your intentions were pure.
Absolutely. But so all those fish are the first thing they're going to do is move towards deeper water, move towards those bayous. And as they're going out, they're going to be going out with a bunch of shrimp and mullet. And typically the reds will move on out first, and then the shrimp and mullet they'll kind of hang back, and those reds will get stationary. And I've literally had 100 fish days on these dumps. 2 guys fly fishing one day with me caught well over 100. By myself, I've caught 60. You got to experience it. It's one of the coolest things that happens on our coast.
Well, Dean, I want to get into more of what Scott and Caleb said, but from I know you've fished all over and you're very familiar with what they're talking about, but not all bays are created equal, and the dump for some isn't as, let's say, lucrative for others.
No, we don't do that down here. And the coast of Texas curves. It's not a straight line. That is why Galveston North experiences huge blowout of water. And every bay, of course, like you said, is not created equal. on Redfish Bay, because we have this causeway that goes right through the middle of it, when we get a north wind, it actually stacks up water. I mean, it blows water from Aransas Bay into Redfish Bay. And while everybody else is experiencing this massive dump, it kind of stacks it up here. If it blows west or any kind of northwest with some west involved, then it does blow it offshore. It will blow it out. It will assist the outgoing tide, but it won't actually blow the water out. So if it coincides with a dropping tide, it'll reinforce that and it will blow some water out. But it's been so high for so long that anything would be nice.
Yeah, and that's what makes it tough to start learning an entire coast, because I'll be like, say we'll be going down to Baffin and the land cut and stuff, and the water's 2 foot high up here, and I get down there and the people I fish with are like, there ain't enough water to go in 9 Mile. Like, how? It's the it's the middle of July, it's 2 foot deep everywhere else, and it's a 1.5 foot low down there, and that's really a tough thing to get by, going from bay to bay to bay to bay, because and you screw yourself in a jiffy.
Yeah. Okay,
and
so
on this one, it's the orientation to the wind. So it's, of course, north. Even I guess Matagorda is probably right in the middle. Port O'Connor maybe is closer to the middle, where the coast is straight north and south. Down here it starts to bow out to the west a little bit. And then, of course, Galveston experiences the magical dumps where you can look at the NOAA tide chart and it just falls off of the chart when that happens. We don't get those. But there's other factors involved in this that will make the fishing good.
See, and that's our get back for listening to you talk about the beautiful, clear, flat.
Oh, it is
all summer. In the fall, we're like, suck it, bro. Check it
out. Look at us. We're catching fish.
And so, and Scott and I have compared notes from the upper coast to the lower coast for 20 years. Like when those shrimp are hatching, like up in Greens, and I don't even know which ones for sure I'm talking about. But all those back lakes, all of them, when those shrimp are popping and the redfish are in there, I'm like, what the hell? We can't find a fish down south.
That's our group text. The meme that's got like the Meet the Millers. It's got Jason Sudeikis or whatever, and Rachel from Friends. And there's a redheaded dude like, wait, y'all are having fun? Like, that's how our group text goes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it can be going off crazy up north, and we're struggling here, and then there's times whenever we're just killing it here, and then they're struggling, and really not a long way away. But every bay has its own system. Up there, way more marsh-like. Down here is flats, so it's got a lot of variation going on in a short distance.
All right, so Scott, well, you mentioned, how the bait will stack and kind of go in I guess, intervals, however you want to put it. Let's help our listeners, and you guys jump in as you feel the need to. Where do they go? This is a relatively new phenomenon for a lot of our listeners, and some of our listeners have heard about the dump, but have never quite honed in. You know what I mean? On, okay, I know it's happening. I don't know where to go.
Any marsh that has a bunch of lakes in the back that feed out through small bayous, that's my go-to. And you get set up in one of those small bayous. I was texting with a buddy of mine that is guiding up in Galveston, and I was asking if he's going to be out there, and his boat's in the shop. He said, bring yours up here and I'll pull you around. I said, dude, there ain't gonna be no polling on a day like that. Those days are about sitting up in the right place.
Yeah.
Position yourself. Like the day that my two fly guys caught over 100, we never moved once. I stuck the bow into the bank on one side, put my power pole down. We sat sideways in a bayou and just let all the fish come to us.
They go right by.
Never had to move.
And it's in waves. It's either the same group or they circle around or in waves.
Big schools, and they're just coming out, and they're all leaving the marsh. And if you find one of those drains that feeds out into the main lake or the main bay from any of the marshes, Just set up and wait. You'll hear them coming, even over the wind howling. You'll still hear the smacking of the shrimp.
Yeah, I do that later in the winter whenever our water gets real cold and clear up here. Like, and it's not really a dump. It's just a tide falling situation. And I've had days where they come right past us. What Pat and I are going to do, not Thursday, like I said, we're not fishing during the dump, but we're going to be in coves and anything that drains out of the marsh awaiting on the bay side. It don't matter west shoreline, south, north, doesn't really matter. We're probably going to be fishing in some pretty dirty water. Like Scott said, those you'll hear them and see them popping and blowing stuff up. But you don't necessarily have to be in the marsh. A lot of people don't have the boats or the access to it. We're going to be in any given drain that just comes out of a tidal area on the bay side.
And timing on that, Caleb, not during. I mean, people can, but
during is great. But man, it takes some resolve. It takes a very big boat. It takes some smarts. It takes some wits. And this one coming through at night, I've fished a lot of dumps. The ones at night, to me, the fruit isn't worth the squeeze. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. Whatever it says. But yeah, would I feel like me and Pat would be a little bit behind it? Yes. Could we go Wednesday evening? Yes, but it's going to be tore up and sloshed up. But Thursday, after things kind of settled out, that's just when we're going to go give it a shot. I have seen it where we showed up after they ate. Or maybe there's wasn't a fish there. But in me and Pat's mind, they're everywhere. They're just so full. They want to bite our lures.
Y'all want to hear something crazy?
Of course.
So Caleb, he just threw out the juice is worth the squeeze. I was having there's got to be something to this, because I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine this morning after hunting this morning, and I was seriously frustrated of the lack of deer because of the heat and the frustration. And he used that exact phrase. The juice is worth the squeeze. What are the chances of
I don't know.
that twice? That's got to mean something. That has got.
It means I watched The Girl Next Door last night, and the movie. I want to be clear, the movie. And
at least that's where you started.
That's got to be a sign.
Yeah. So, Dean, what you said, it does affect us down lower coast, and really, from Matagorda up, is where it really is big time. Galveston, big time. But what does it do? Like, let's say you, me, a lot of people to our south. We're going to get this big wind. We're going to get this big change. Tide obviously still going out. What does it do, and what would you recommend?
Well, and I think whenever everybody talks about the dump, that is a short, immediate result. I mean, it happens quick. It happens the day of and during. So for us, it's more of a long-term effect over the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, and then leading into the rest of December. And then it'll shift gears a little bit in January, a little bit different. But the mullet so what we have here, and I'm sure it's everywhere. I mean, there's more of a shrimp migration up north where the shrimp start popping. We have a mullet migration where all of the mullet just start streaming like rivers of mullet across the flats. I've been waiting for this, but with this super high tide, all those schools of mullet are still on the flats. They're just lingering. They're just lazy. They're spread out everywhere. They're not concentrated. They're just there, lazy. What this is going to do is prompt all of those things to start moving to the passes, to the flats that are closest to the passes, and you're going to see big rafts of mullet piled up. And as you're drifting the flats or you're running across the flats and you see those big mega schools of mullet, you want to drift through them, around them, the edges of them, and that is where you're going to find plenty of other big fish mixed in.
Yeah, Dean said a lot right there, and I'm going to say it the same thing in a different way. The dump thing is like during and right after. There's a solid chance that Thursday we go and we're behind it. But what it does long term up here is this is what starts sucking all the shrimp out of the marsh. Then the shrimp, like Dean says, starts migrating to the passes. As the bait's migrating to the passes, the trout and the redfish get on it. The birds start working, and that's where the birds working on the middle coast comes from. I know we're on a radio show, but there is a very technical diagram of where to find the juice.
That is way too graphic for me. But it's sadly, it's kind of accurate too.
Yeah. Just so you know, and this is our resident coon ass that sent me this, but that is Bayou Stank.
Go ahead, Scott.
Y'all were talking about the afterwards, like Caleb's talking about going on Thursday, and that would be my lowest choice. I mean, I wouldn't even bother going out.
You ain't gonna get me and Pat down, man. Jumbos, they're out there.
Yeah. Yeah, Pat can convince you of that all you want.
He also told me to bring my waders.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's just suckering you in. That's all. But when that dump happens, they feed so heavy and so hard. The following day, I tried it many times. So, I'm guiding, and I had trips the day after them and fished all that Galveston Marsh and Matagorda Marsh. And you could see the fish, and they were just sitting there burping. I mean, they are so full, you can literally see their stomachs bulging, and they just eat so much during that dump that they're not going to eat. I would usually give it about 24 to 36 hours after the dump before I would even think that I was going to catch fish again. I did find one dumb one that decided to eat a dessert. It was the period following the dump. It was about 24 hours later, and we were starting to see them move around a little bit, and we managed to catch one, and the guy wanted to take something home, take one home for dinner. And so I always check the stomach. It was pretty wild when you open the stomach up and you check like the when it's shrimp in there and they've been in there for a bit, they turn pink, just like if you boil them. The stomach acids are eating them up. The stomach was so full that it was see-through. It was absolutely just stuffed like a sausage case.
Yeah.
And there was pink on about 2/3 to 3/4 of the stomach. Towards the back of it was all pink, mostly digested shrimp and some mullet. And the front part was brand new fresh ones and almost still kicking.
Yeah.
And so what that told me was he ate like crazy on that dump and then didn't eat a damn thing. And then it just now started eating again. And it was about 24 hours later.
It's like Thanksgiving, man.
Can you imagine?
You needed to take a dump.
Yeah, so you did.
Can you imagine how fat the trout me and Pat are going to catch are, John? They're going
I can imagine.
They're going to be pink and clear and stuff.
Be a real prick and send me some pictures.
So the wind supposedly starts nuking tonight at 10 p.m. and then it blasts all day tomorrow. And then it's forecast the wind stops blowing like 7, 8, 9 a.m. on Thursday. So let's define this 24 hours after. 24 hours after it hits, 24 hours after it's done.
I think you got to be out there to find out. By the way, I just, not even a half hour before we started the show, I got a wind advisory on my phone. I don't know if you guys got that as well. So yeah, it's definitely everywhere, but
I was look at 5 days out from this thing, which who the hell wants to be fishing in a 40-mile-an-hour wind? Not me.
There's another
look at next week. So behind this thing for the next 5 to 7 days, there is beautiful wind. It's going to be much lower tides, drastic change in the weather. The next week, the whole 7 days looks amazing.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, first off, I do want Scott's opinion on that. Second off, Dean's looking at the ranch forecast again.
No. Saturday. Actually, I made a specific note to click over.
All right. So Wednesday the 29th is nuking. Saturday the 1st is 20 out of the south. Sunday the 2nd is 35 out of the north with another front behind it.
I just love how excited you guys are, and I am. And I'm not even going to be fishing. I'm going to be down south. But it is that. I mean, it's a good time to get out and get it done. Let me ask you, Caleb, real quick about the bayous and the drains. And Scott touched on where to find the bayous, and et cetera. But they're not all created equal, and how do you kind of cipher through that?
I mean, you go to the drains coming out of the lakes that you know that there was at least good bait in.
Yeah.
Maybe you know there's fish in there, maybe you don't, but at least you know that there's a bunch of bait coming out of it. This time, 15, 18 years ago, I borrowed a boat, didn't even own one, borrowed a boat from JH while we were waiting on another one, and no steering fluid in it. It's a memorable day. No steering fluid in a tower boat with a 35-mile-an-hour crosswind going down the intercoastal. I just bounced from bank to bank. You know, you turn, your wheel just pop, nothing happens. You have to turn it a lot. Anyway, I got down the intercoastal a good ways, and I was like, dude, this isn't sustainable. And there was a drain coming out. It was during a frontal passage like that.
Mm-hmm.
There was a drain just coming out in the intercoastal. It probably wasn't 6 feet wide. And we went and power pulled the boat down there, got out, and just started casting off the drop off. And if we didn't catch 150 trail, we caught 200.
Mm-hmm.
If there's bait coming out of it, there's probably fish. A lot of the times the birds are going to be helping you out and talking to you and things like that. But bait.
And so check this out. On the My Radar app, if you put the wind overlay,
double checked.
If you look at this thing looks way closer than 8 o'clock because it is already through San Antonio, almost to Victoria.
It's raining here right now.
It's raining here right now. Yeah.
It's on damn close to Houston, and it looks like a little ahead of schedule than 8 o'clock.
Well, the Negro Junior High is playing for the World Championship tonight, or District Championship. It's pretty much the same to us. And so, of course, there's going to be it's going to show up early and wreck stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, go ahead.
A little ahead of schedule.
Something to keep in mind on where to go and which ones to look for. Think about which way the wind's blowing. Think about which way the bayous lead out of your marsh.
That's kind of where I was going with Caleb too. Yeah.
If you're on the north side of the bay, it's going to work. If you're over on the south side of East Matagorda or the south side of West Bay in Galveston, the wind's going to push water in there. It happens here all the time with Pringle. The tide will go exceptionally high when this front hits. It just shoves all that water across the bay on that south side. So that will eventually fall because all the water is going to fall out. So if you were not going to be able to get out until Wednesday morning, go to the south side. Mm-hmm. You know, if you were going like late Wednesday morning, midday, that's when that tide's going to fall out on the south side. Even with that wind still cooking, it's going to hold that water in there for a while, but eventually there's going to be so much water blown out of the north on the north side of it that it will eventually drain it. It's not as drastic as the ones on the north side. If you can catch those, this front does look like it's going to hit a little sooner. They just refreshed and updated as I was looking at it. So I would hit it really, really early, right at daylight on the north side, and fish it until it kind of slows it down. And if you're still hungry for more, go to the south side then.
Yeah, and be aware that it's probably going to be pretty dirty over there on that side. Now, if you can find where the water's coming out of a backwater where you've got a green streak in amongst all that dirty stuff, but Scott, you can cast so far up into those drains if you go to that side during the north wind.
Well, you can. He could hit anything, but you can cast far.
I think we were defeated by a combined total of like 3 inches.
Hey, 3 inches matters. Ask any. Well, no, I won't say that. But all right, go ahead.
But I've had a ton of luck fishing grass lines, primarily throwing corkies for trout, where that water is stacking up against that shoreline. Like my favorite place to fish during the passage is the west shoreline of coves with the northeast wind blowing into them. Or the east with the northwest, and it stacks water up. Scott's right, but I think there's something to it where the tide's pulling and the water's pushing, and it's just making turbulence in there. I don't know what it is, but I will stand and blind cast to a grass line for hours, and it does well for me. But it never gets really shallow there during it, as the water isn't leaving there, but it's doing something.
I'm glad you're excited about that because that's exactly what's in Pat's mind. You know that, right?
Yeah,
that's why he told you bring your stupid pants.
Yes,
I really wish you'd tell me if it's 24 hours when it starts or 24 hours so it's in. Because I'm making decisions of whether I'm going to be sick Thursday or not.
In real time. In real time. All right, so Dean, let's get back down south a little bit because you already talked about, maybe the effect in the short term isn't as much, but maybe a little longer term. But it is going to affect the water levels. So then what?
Well, it's going to pull a whole bunch of that water off of those flats and stack fish on the. This one will start. Those drop offs will start to pay off again.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
The edges of the flats, the outside, and the windy side is going to be really difficult. It is going to be dirty. The wind's going to be pounding those shorelines. I prefer to put the wind at my back, park on those sandbars, and then cast out to the deeper water and come back. But also the drop in water temperature is going to be a huge part of this. Finally, if we could get water temperature in the 70s.
You think we will?
Oh, for sure. It'll finally drop in the 70s on this one. But when it hits 70, the low 70s is when the migration and those things really start to shift gears. I mean, we still had water temperature 84 degrees this week. Another interesting thing that I can add to this conversation about, hopefully that's going to help it change. Me and John ran around Saturday and Sunday, went to try to make something happen because it's been really tough. And all of the go-to spots, we went and hit St. Joe's shoreline, we hit Super Flats, we hit Mud Island. The tide has been 2 feet above normal, so we just went exploring fish. Still tough, fish spread out. I came back Monday after you left, and I just went back to Old Faithful, went back to Ransom and Dagger Flats, to where typical summer go-to kind of fishing. And after all that exploratory running around that we did, tank of gas, tore them up, where it was traditional summer where just your regular go-to. But that is going to shift gears. I mean, that is going to pull all those fish. Nobody's going to be running around on Super Flats and those flats of Mud Island. So all of those drop-offs is where they're going to be.
That's what I'm talking about, man. This is really good information. You can't get this anywhere else. Just every aspect of the dump. Before I get out of here, and move on to the next topic, I do want to ask you guys. I wanted to dig in. We have 32 minutes plus on this, and I think it's been really helpful to a lot of our listeners, especially those that have just been, sort of curious or maybe not as successful. And you guys have nailed it. So I really appreciate it. Am I missing anything? Am I missing anything that people need to know? Because this is prime time. We want them to catch fish. That's the whole idea.
People ask me all the time what to throw, and when that's going on, the answer is whatever you like, whatever you enjoy throwing. Because they're eating mullet, they're eating shrimp, they're eating crabs, they're eating everything that's coming out. My favorite, I would always go out there and fly fish, but if I wasn't doing that, was throwing a small top water and just working it across the top, because all those little mullet are coming out and you can get some hellacious blow ups. I've seen redfish pushing mullet up onto the dry ground and up into the grass, blasting them, and then sitting there looking like an orca waiting on a seal to come back in the water. And just
now that I have not seen. You got me on that one.
Absolutely, literally cruising up and down the bank when the water's dropped out a good bit and there's mud up there. They'll blow them up onto that bank and then they'll cruise back and forth and stare at them.
Come on. We know you need to be in here.
Oh, absolutely. I've seen them. And as the mullet flip back into the water, they eat them. I loved it. That was always my favorite day. If I saw that coming, when I lived up that way, I had to be there.
Get your new baits. Get your new baits 150 at your favorite retailer, right, John?
How about that? Like, talk about timing. Our friends over at Baits entered the live YouTube stream right as I had the Baits logo on the screen.
They probably think we leave it up all the time.
No, we don't. I already moved it to the Bite Me logo, but that was good timing on our part for sure. So yeah, that was really good. I really wanted to do it. You guys came through big time. Let me ask you something, because Dean was talking about what we did Saturday and Sunday, and I had a blast. And I know people always say this, even though we didn't catch a lot of fish, I had a lot of fun because I went to some places that I hadn't really gone. And one of them was up way up north from us on some islands and some grass flats that I hadn't been to. So thanks to Dean for showing me that. And we went to one spot, and I talk about this all the time. I'm not gloomy, doom and gloom, as you guys well know, but I've mentioned this with the kids in the past. Like when I die, hopefully years and years and years from now, I'd like my ashes spread somewhere on a bay somewhere. And so as we're driving back, I'm sitting there thinking that place would be on the list where we were, Dean. That would be on my list of maybe some of the, I've got a couple in Sabine, a couple in East Matagorda that I've kind of wanted, like Sunset at Brown Cedar Flats. It's beautiful over there. That's on the list. But I was started, and I'm wondering, have you guys ever, is that just me, or where would you, if you had to spread your ashes somewhere, where would you do that?
I would like to, go ahead.
Well, okay. Well, so just to let everybody know, what John is speaking of is Mud Island.
Yeah, Mud Island.
Where we ran across the backside of Mud,
way up in there,
across the flats to where we actually, and John's got a picture. We had a picture of your boat beached up on there. You could share that with folks later so they get a little idea of where. But yes, we pulled right up to the backside of this shell beach that is probably 6 or 8 feet above the water there, and it stretches for a couple of miles in either direction, and it is zero civilization on the horizon. One of the coolest spots, you're looking at St. Joe, uninhabited. And if you're ever fortunate enough to get out there, if you get up early, take that boat ride and be out there when the sun comes up, it is one of the most amazing sunrises you'll ever see on the Texas coast. I'm sure there are plenty that compete with it, but it is badass to see unobstructed horizon in every direction, and the shell beach and the crystal clear water. It is amazing. I plan to have my ashes spread amongst the flats of South Texas somewhere.
Yeah. Caleb?
And Scott, you got one? I'll let you go first.
If you did. I mean, some people don't want to, ashes, but I'm just saying, if you did.
Think about it than we do.
Yeah.
Like
what you think. You don't know my plans.
Caleb is doom and gloom. I'm not doom and gloom. Caleb is. He's like, I don't know, the next couple weeks.
It's about to get windy out there.
Know my plans I have for him. Right out here off the back porch, man.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
I've put a lot of sweat equity into this little property out here and fixing it up, doing everything right.
We're gonna dump your ashes in that pig trap and let them pigs spread you around.
At least a few.
They want to seek their revenge on you.
I'd say there, and let's split them up. Put some there and put some in Pascavallo.
That'd be good.
Outgoing tides, Pascavallo.
Caleb?
There's this little back lake. I'm not going to name names, but there's a little back lake, and I just love it. The water's usually really nice in there. It's beautiful, a lot of redfish. And in the corner of that lake is a duck blind. And I want to be buried with my ass sticking out of the sand in that duck blind so those duck hunters can kiss it every morning. And that's pretty much it, yeah.
This week, right? Is it this week or next week? Duck season starts.
This week or next week.
Couple days. Saturday.
Oh no! So this weekend, all that place where we were talking about up in Mud Island and some of those other places. Oh Lord, they're gonna be so mad at me. I got to go after about 10 o'clock if I go up there again. That's gonna be tough. Some people, and we had a couple of texts that you can do this. I've seen
John, I hate to burst your bubble again this week.
Yeah.
But after Caleb mentioned the second front that was coming, I kind of scrolled ahead in the forecast. Saturday is not looking favorable for you.
Okay. But we were all saying the same thing this past week. And what happened?
That was complete.
It was fine.
Yeah.
Both days. We fished both days.
That was fraudulent for sure.
It was. Well, it wasn't fraudulent for everybody on the coast, because up here in Houston, my wife was talking about how it was torrential. How was it in Port O'Connor?
I had like a half inch, and then got another half inch the next day. That's basically about it. It made some puddles in the yard that went away within 45 minutes, hour.
Yeah, I was, I was just convinced. All right, well, I'll get some chores done. Piddle around with the boat, all that stuff. Lo and behold, fished both days, so it was good. That place
get a drip.
No,
in Aransas Pass.
No, not a drop.
I couldn't tell. Like Scott said, it probably soaked it up pretty quick, but it was blowing dirt in my house by 10, 11 in the morning.
Yeah. All right. So Caleb said something, and this one has been on the back burner for more than a month. So we got to get to it, because Caleb said something that I think is relevant about learning the whole. Why are you shaking your fist?
I said something relevant, man. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Real quick, somebody said, did you win anything at the chili contest you were at, John? All right, so here's the story.
Yeah, John. How did that chili contest go that you were at?
Well, I don't know if we were at. My team was at. All right, so here's the story. I got the full details. I actually finished in second place, People's Choice Award. I found that out on Sunday. Here's the problem. My son got first place. And that was big. There were like 22 teams out of 22 teams. I was like, oh, well, that's awesome. And then my middle son, BG, got first place, which I was happy for him. But I was like, damn it. It's like
you weren't there. So what happened is they switched yours. I'll just go with that.
Ron Lopez.
Yeah, hey, I'll go with that. So it was good, but not great. But I was very, very happy for him. But oh well. And even worse, first place. That was People's Choice. First place by the judges. The chili had beans in it.
Yes.
What?
See? Settled. It's just
it's not settled.
It don't have beans in it. It's Mexican meat sauce.
It's stew. If it has beans in it, it's stew.
Now if it has taters in it, it's stew.
It's not chili.
Have beans in it, it's award-winning chili.
Well, in this case, it was. I was like, what? And my daughter was like, she goes, that's not right. She goes, that's not right.
James Phillips from South Louisiana over here arguing what chili should and shouldn't be. Worry about jambalaya, James. I see you.
No. So I'm going to give it to, I don't know who finished second, but I think second place should win that, the judges anyway.
I wonder if anybody's ever put beans in jambalaya.
I am sure. They'll put anything in anything down in Louisiana.
They put some raccoon tail in there.
Yeah.
Some nutria in it.
Nutria, all that stuff. So anyway, Caleb said something relevant, and he's real excited to hear what I'm talking about here. So you were talking about up and down the coast, how things are different, et cetera. And you got to be careful, with what you're doing. And of course we covered that. So we're talking about expanding your horizons. And the reason I wanted to get to this is because we have several times over the course of the last few years talked about learning your bay. This is something, piece by piece. I'm still learning mine, as I just talked about with Dean taking me to a new spot that now I know and lay down a track and all that stuff. Learning your bay system piece by piece by piece and mastering it. And I was able to do that in Sabine, East Matagorda, and now I'm doing it down 3 years in, by the way. I'm still learning that I've been down in Aransas Pass. But as much as you do that, you guys have all been on the tournament trail and know every bay system basically up and down the Gulf Coast. How does expanding your horizons, how does that change, what you're doing? I can tell you from experience, sometimes when I'm throwing something in Aransas Pass, most people don't throw it necessarily because it's more of an upper or middle coast bait, but it'll, in certain environments, I'll still throw it. And I'm not just talking about a popping cork. Like there are environments where I'll throw a corky. You can't see a lot of corkies down south. But so Caleb, you look like this was your point. How does expanding your horizons, so to speak, help?
Man, I think it makes a huge difference. I really do. There's there's stuff that doesn't work everywhere, but there's a lot of stuff that works in certain areas that if you bring it back home is pretty good there. I wasn't much of a spinnerbait guy until I started going to Louisiana, and now I throw them all the time over here, and it turns out they're quite effective. There's things that you see in Louisiana because the guts and the drains and the ponds and the points and everything are quite often more pronounced over there, and there's more tide movement, particularly. And I'm speaking of like Hopedale, Delacroix, Venice, because you're right there on the Gulf, and so you start recognizing how water or bait or whatever move around points, and when you come over here, it's less pronounced, but you have a better understanding of what's going on. 90% of my skill gap with a corky was bridged in 5 days in South Padre because I could stand on the casting platform of a boat. I put on a bright orange corky and I just launched it out there and worked it back over and over and over. Well, the water was so clear and shallow, I could see it. So I learned everything I could make that corky do. And then when I came back to dirtier water, I had full confidence that it was doing what I wanted it to do. Confidence translates into catching fish, so forth and so on. I don't think there's anything you can do to make yourself a better fisherman than becoming competent in multiple areas, because there's a lot of stuff that crosses over and transitions. It changes the game absolutely 100%. I mean, there's stuff. Think about Dean and Scott. Think about all the stuff that Texans did that people from Louisiana made fun of 15 years ago, and now they're all doing the same thing, and
like what?
Vice versa. Just how our boats are set up, waiting for fish, things like that. That a long time ago, they made fun of Texans for coming and getting out of the boat over there in Calcasieu and stuff like that. It was a thing. I do think that if you can survive if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball, and that's equivalent to fishing Matagorda and then going everywhere else, because this is a tough base system. That there's a lot of days that if we have a bad day down south, like Baffin, Line Cut, Mansfield, a bad day down south quite often is a really good day up here, on this part of the coast. So it's just the way you think about stuff and the way you approach things changes a lot whenever you start having to do it in different areas and realizing all the approaches are rather similar, but there's little variations that you can make to make it fit in your area.
Scott, I was thinking about you and Dean specifically. Anything from Florida? You guys spent a lot of time there, where you know your Galveston, your Port O'Connor like the back of your hand, and other places, but that maybe you're like, and then you translate it.
Florida, it was so tide related, that we just weren't used to it. When we first got there, and losing 2 and 3 feet of water in a day. Having it turn around, come right back 6 or 8 hours later, and the fish just wouldn't eat unless the tide was moving. We could see the fish and know that they're there, and we can't catch them just because the tide's not moving. We're not really used to that because our tides are so weak over here compared to what it is over there. So there wasn't a whole lot that I took from Florida back over here. As far as going the other way, we used a lot of the lures that we use over here and did just fine with them, and they're not super popular over there. So things that we were throwing, some of our paddle tails and stuff like that, nobody was really using a whole lot of paddle tails over there at the time, and they do now. Everything's kind of spread out, and the weighting is another thing. That in Florida, they don't weight a whole lot. There wasn't a whole lot of that going on. And partly because there's manatees and things like that in the water, so you don't want to get out of your boat.
Get bit. While they're eating all the trout and redfish, they might get
rolled up on. Get rolled up on by those suckers.
Hey Scott, we were over there in Florida.
Manatee.
Scott, we're over there in Florida fishing with Mark. He says, "You want to wade?" I was like, "Hell no, I don't want to wade." And I'm kind of looking around. I'm like, "What are we gonna do?" He goes, "Oh, we're gonna power pole and go stand on that sandbar." Like, that's not wading, dog. That's standing in the water, and I'll absolutely do that.
You mentioned Mark. I'll tell you one thing. Just in the last few years that I've done, because you guys know this. Maybe some of our listeners don't. he's real big talking about the tide, Scott, of throwing a shrimp or one of those DOA lures, up the tide and just letting it float on down, just drift across. I've done that multiple times. And I used to do it in the cut in Matagorda when the tide was really blowing out. And that was just by chance. But ever since he did that, I do it on other tides that are strong as well. So you can kind of just do that. That works. That's what I'm talking about. Just translating stuff, One other thing I did in Matagorda, I haven't done it in Aransas, but when I was in Sabine, we used to call it backwards fishing. And you guys are familiar with this. A lot of times they'll throw their bait out and just drift over the fish, over the oyster reefs backwards and just maul them, just absolutely maul them. So that one area, can't remember the name of it right now, Caleb, but kind of, I guess that would be southwest East Matagorda Bay, where those deeper shell, bunch of shell pads are. I've tried it there. Yeah, I've tried it there a couple times.
Dredging.
Caught fish. Yeah.
Dredging is what we call it. We call it dredging.
Yeah,
it works. Do it in Galveston a ton. Yeah.
Yeah, it works.
As long as it's deeper water.
Yeah, it's deeper water over there. You know where I'm talking about.
It keeps your croaker from getting under the boat. I know what you're doing.
So, Dean, on this topic, expanding your horizons. You've been all over, man. What are some of the things that our listeners, once they learn we want them to learn their bay, nail it, get it all dialed in. But what are some other things that you may be thinking of that can translate?
Yeah, and I was listening to Scott there. I mean, it was interesting to compare what we saw in Florida on the tides and fishing around points and places where the current was really funneled, really kind of channeled, concentrated, really strong currents in areas. But I mean, it's interesting to go and fish in other places and then come back to your home waters and see what you like. One thing that does not work in the crystal clear shallows is big, noisy baits, big topwaters, things that make a lot of noise. I mean, here we learn to scale things down and be a little quieter. And then if you go to dirty water, I mean, especially up around Galveston, Sabine, I mean, big spinner baits, big noisy things really do work. So, I mean, it's always interesting to compare how those things work in other areas. And of course, in Florida, when we were there, I think, was that thing called a wood chopper? Is that what that big ass topwater was? Had like these spinner on the tail, these little cuts on the side. I mean, it was designed to make maximum noise and maximum splash. And those things were crazy effective in that ripping current. I mean, they got massive, nasty blow-ups on those things. But anytime you can go and explore something else that's different and really try different techniques and tactics, I think when I come home, it helps me focus on what I'm doing a little bit more specifically instead of just going out there. It kind of makes me think about it more. It just puts a little more into the thought process. You get kind of stuck in the groove of what's easy, what you know. But when you do travel around to different areas, it broadens your thought process, or it does for me anyway.
No, that's exactly where I was going. I mean, you go into one of these places, Caleb, and you're like, well, they're catching fish like this or with this. And you're like, huh, it doesn't always translate like Dean was talking about, but sometimes it does.
And it's crazy coming from me, but it can help with like overthinking the situations too. And that, if I never left East Matagorda Bay, it would be like, I got to get to, Cain's Cove. That's where we got to be to catch fish. Well, you go to a bunch of places, if you don't know the name of anything, you don't know the local hot spots, all that, and you just got to go fishing. And when you get back home, you're a little bit more willing to do it too. We should also, with these ideas we're getting everyone, get some sort of sponsorship from Towboat US.
Hey,
they're gonna be busy this weekend, man.
I'm going. Yeah, they are. So Scott, you talk about that. Also styles. When you and I were kiddos, and Dean, I didn't see very many spinning reels. I didn't see very many spinning reels, and now we got them, here and there on our boats.
No, spinning, that's the only thing there is over in Florida, it seems like. And when I was repping, it was interesting to watch. Up Galveston, Matagorda, it was 100% nearly bait casters. That was our main selling. I was repping for Shimano. Then I got to Corpus and it turned into more 50-50. And get further south and down South Texas, it turned into almost probably 75% spinning. And kind of did the same thing going east over into Louisiana. It kind of switched over to a lot more spinning. You get to Florida, they look at you cross-eyed when you pull out a bait caster over there.
And them dudes in Florida, hey,
they get angry.
They knew exactly where we were from when they saw a boatload of bait casters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Dean, you throw your plastics on a spinning reel.
Man, I'm 50-50.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with either one.
You know,
and it has a lot to do with the action of the rod, though, too. I mean, it's not the reel. Once you throw it out there, hey, the reel's done its job. At that point, it's the big difference, and I've explained this to people, with a bait caster, the weight of the reel is in the palm of your hand, like the axis of the rotation is in the palm of your hand. With a spinning rod, the weight of the reel is off the axis of the rod, so you're tossing a little more weight around. It's just there's some physics to it that are a little bit different, but the rod is what is putting the action into the lure. So, I mean, with a soft plastic, I prefer a much stiffer rod with a spinning reel. With a bait caster, because of the reel in the palm of your hand, you can get away with a lighter action rod and still put that action into the soft plastic. And then soft plastics can be really technique oriented. There's some days they want that thing bumping the bottom, slow, drop it down to the bottom, pick it up, let it go back down. Some days they want it up in the middle of the column, and some days they'll hit it on the top. So there's a lot of variety in figuring out the motion, the speed of the retrieve, and the rod tip.
Yeah, if you rod tip down, spinning reel would make more sense. And that's a good teaser, so to speak, for one of the topics that we're going to have next week. But one more semi-related to expanding your horizon.
And I'll tell you what, one thing before I have about that, the soft plastics on whenever I fish, we'll line up 3 or 4 people side by side, all throwing soft plastics on those drop-offs. And it is crazy how many times one person out of that group is getting the hit. And it can be very subtle on what that one person is doing to get him to get that hit, to get that strike on that. And then you try to duplicate that.
Yeah. Like I said, if I'm working it, like you talked about, down low, rod tip down, to me, it's just easier with the spinning reel. If I'm popping, like we like to do a lot, it's more casting. All right. So semi-related to expanding your horizons. I just wanted to ask you guys this because I don't have the answer. I've never really done this, but a listener just wanted to ask you guys, fishing the Mexico side down in the lower Laguna Madre, and they wondered if you guys have ever done that and how difficult it would be to do. The one thing I do know after a cursory search, very difficult. It's very, very difficult. Lots of red tape, different slot limits, different bag limits. The federales don't take too kindly. You got to have all the paperwork down. They will stop you. So I'm thinking that's a no, but I'm asking the question they asked you guys.
Do not try to
cartels.
not try to do it in a long V hole with trip motors.
That's a bad day waiting to happen.
Actually, I retract. If you do it, you need to do it in a long V hole trip motors. It's a long ways down there to that next bay, and you want to get there as fast as possible.
No, God, no. What are you
trip
doing?
down, probably okay. The trip home, maybe serpentine pattern.
Look for helicopters.
You can't outrun those drones anymore, man.
No. Of all the people that I thought might have had this experience, I thought it might be Scott or Dean. Any experience going down there?
No, I never did make the trip. Ray Five Ash used to do it. He had that beach mobile thing, and he would leave from the Texas side and go across the Rio Grande and just run it down the beach. I don't know how they got away with it. I don't know what the deal was, but they would dog it, and Pike used to do it all the time. And I always wanted to. They called it Fifth Pass and all these different passes down there, and it looked like a hell of a good time. But I wouldn't do it now.
Yeah, hell no. Back in the day, I could see that being somewhat of an adventure. Now, that'd be an adventure I do not want to go on, man. I want to take John Lopez down there south of the border and see how that goes.
Hey, it wouldn't help much. I guarantee you that.
No.
They just be able to understand what they're going to do to you.
Yes, exactly. And
John
speaking Spanish,
I'm from East Houston, SA.
Speaking Spanish to federal agents does not sweeten the deal. It does not sweeten the deal at all.
John's just going to make it harder to get back across. Y'all.
Yes. All right. So what would Scott do? What would Caleb do? What would Dean do? We kind of covered it with the dump, but any specifics for you guys in terms of the weekend? Now, I need to look at the forecast. I know it's not promising from what you guys have said. But what about our weekday challenge? Maybe what, Scott? Maybe what?
Friday. I would look at Friday. Friday, light winds, still a little out of the north. Water's going to be down low, not going to be coming back in yet. And, it's got northeast, so it'll come back a little bit, but not a whole lot. And the water should be low and clear. It's going to cool the water off. It's going to clear it up a little bit. And the fish should be starting to prowl around, ready to eat again by Friday. Saturday, it's going to be that south wind. That southeast is going to push hard, 15 to 20, and that water's going to come right back. And then Sunday, it's northwest again at 30. So
yikes.
We could have another dump. It's something we didn't talk about on the dump. These earlier season dumps, not everything completely leaves.
That's right.
The shrimp doesn't all just disappear. Some of it goes out into a main lake where it's a little deeper. It gets in the bayou. As soon as that south wind comes back and pushes water back up, they go right back in there. So you can usually, with these October, early November ones, you can count on 2 or 3 more if you get the right wind. Usually it's one around Thanksgiving to 1st of December. We'll get one of those big pushes and it's cold overnight, blows all the water out, and it's down in the 30s or 40s. It chills that mud, and when the water comes back, it's cold, and nothing really comes back in. But these early ones, that water's still plenty warm enough. They're going to move right back up in there as soon as the water gets high enough.
Hey, at 7 a.m., Dean, on Saturday, partly cloudy, 5 to 8 mile an hour winds. 1 p.m., 35 to 40, and 100% chance of rain. So if you're going to get out there early. Keep your head on a swivel. For sure.
Today,
I think we're finally losing your internet at the worst time. Try that once more.
Yeah,
so we go to Caleb.
Dean's locked up.
So we go to Caleb.
Dean's done.
Yeah. So fish fast, fish early on Saturday.
Yeah, and a jiffy. I told y'all what my plan was. Scott said it sucked, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I did book my trips for Friday, Thursday as me and Pat and DD being dummies. Speaking of, while I've got people's attention, I think I'm booked up next week. But all you folks that have been hitting me up all summer wanting to go red fishing, and I've been saying wait till October, November to get with me. Now's the time. I'm starting to fill the old calendar out.
Scott, how about you on that front?
Yep, it's that time. I got good schools, had good fish. Hell, that one day this week, water was high, and I thought, well, it's going to be kind of iffy. And we got out there, and the tide was just leaking out a little bit, and all the fish came out of the trees, even though water was still high enough for them to be in there. But they leaked out and started picking off shrimp. Yeah, so it should be good. Yeah, I can't do anything this weekend.
What do you got this weekend?
Mill's birthday.
Oh, good.
Camille's birthday weekend. So
yeah. And Gene just texted. He's got nothing but 4 little circles running around. That's okay.
The best part was where it froze up on him. He had that very smug look on his face.
He was about to say something brilliant,
yeah,
or hilarious.
He was trying.
Yeah. All right, boys. Go ahead.
I thought Camille was going to say Scott needs to get the Thanksgiving decorations out of the attic. That's it.
No, Karen's going to be here. She'll do it.
All right. Well,
now we got an empty chair.
Now we got an empty chair.
Dean came back. He's an empty chair.
He said, "Screw it," but his computer said, "We're good now. We're good now."
We should probably all take note that that camera will just turn back on us.
Oh yes, this is true.
Y'all got me now.
We got you now. We got you now.
And I thought I was out early.
Well, we're about to wrap up, but you got some dates coming up because we're trying to make sure that everybody understands. You guys might have some dates opening.
The one thing I was thinking when I walked away from this was I'm not real concerned with the short-term aspects of this cold front. Mm-hmm. That is the next couple of days. What the hell do I care? I'm at the ranch. I'm hunting for the next 2 or 3 days. I'm excited for that. But the next week or two after this is when things are going to kick into a whole nother gear for the flats of South Texas. Awesome. Terrific show. I'm always happy when we give our listeners some real stuff that they can use out on the water this week or next or whenever. So you guys don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, join the Facebook group page. It matters, and it's good for you. We can get your questions. And I may well have a big package of hooded dry fit shirts and caps. They're badass. I'll take a picture and post it ASAP. And I'll put that link up there as well. You guys, great job. We'll see you on the water at some point this weekend. Catch them up. We'll talk to you next time.
Hey, if you want to get your mind off the beans and that chili, a little bit of ketchup on some enchiladas is delicious.
Yeah.